Part of the whole Make America Healthy Again shtick, touted by Trump and RFK Jr. on the campaign trail, is that Americans need to have better food to eat, which, true, absolutely.
How U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned.
Imagine for a moment that the very food you innocently put into your body every single day, the meals you feed your family, and most alarmingly, the snacks you give your children contain ingredients so fundamentally dangerous, so demonstrably harmful, that they are explicitly banned in countless other developed nations across the globe. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is the chilling reality of America's food landscape, where profit and convenience often trump public health, leaving consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that are quietly sabotaging our well-being. From political figures like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to countless health advocates, a critical question is being screamed from the rooftops. Are everyday foods more harmful than we realize? The answer, as you're about to discover, is a resounding and terrifying yes. In this deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain on 15 common foods you probably consume regularly, exposing the shocking, sometimes grotesque ingredients lurking within, and revealing how lax US food regulations have left American consumers as unwitting participants in a disturbing culinary experiment. Let's begin with something as seemingly fundamental as bread. Store-bought bread, a comforting staple in millions of American homes, is a perfect, terrifying example of how many unnecessary and even dangerous ingredients end up in what we eat. At the heart of this deception is a chemical called potassium bromate. Never heard of it? It's a powerful dough conditioner, engineered to make bread rise faster and achieve that unnervingly perfect, fluffy texture. But this efficiency comes at a terrifying cost. Numerous independent studies, often ignored in the US, have unequivocally linked potassium bromate to various forms of cancer, including kidney and thyroid tumors. It's a chemical known to wreak havoc at a cellular level, yet it's a daily staple in countless American homes. While many European nations and even Canada banned this carcinogen decades ago, recognizing its inherent danger, it persists in American loaves. But bromide is just the tip of the iceberg. Have you ever wondered why that loaf of bread stays soft and fluffy for weeks, defying natural spoilage? The shocking truth is that most of it is loaded with an arsenal of preservatives, additives, and artificial ingredients never meant to be in food. Take calcium propionate, a common preservative designed to prevent mold. Sounds harmless, right? Yet studies have linked it directly to ADHD symptoms in children, turning a basic necessity into a potential behavioral trigger. Big bread manufacturers also use dough conditioners like datum and monoglycerides, even the infamous azotocarbonamide, the same chemical found in yoga mats. These ingredients don't exist to make bread healthier. They exist purely to make production faster, cheaper, and more consistent for massive corporations. It's about mass production, not nourishing bodies. Then there's the relentless creep of added sugar. While bread naturally needs a touch of sugar for yeast activation, companies take it to an alarming extreme, pumping in high fructose corn syrup, GMO sugar from beets, and even artificial sweeteners like sucralose. And if you think opting for light bread is a healthier choice, think again. It often contains even more sugar to compensate for the lost flavor and texture, turning a seemingly innocent choice into a hidden sugar trap. And let's not forget the artificial colors and flavors. Petroleum products, the very same base used for gasoline, lurking in your daily slice. Some of these artificial additives are directly linked to allergies, asthma, and hyperactivity. In kids, that appetizing golden caramel coloring, it's made by heating ammonia, a known carcinogen. Most people have absolutely no idea how much pure junk is packed into a simple loaf of bread. And once you know, it's hard to unsee the disturbing reality. Now let's talk about that irresistible crunch. Potato chips. Let's be honest, there's nothing quite like tearing open a bag of chips and succumbing to that salty, crispy goodness. During your favorite movie, it's too good to resist. But have you ever truly wondered what's hidden inside those perfectly formed, deceptively simple chips? Because once you find out, you might think twice before reaching for another handful. First, there's acrylamide. Never heard of it? It's a chemical monster that forms when starchy foods like potatoes are cooked at high temperatures. Think frying, roasting, or baking. And it has been unequivocally linked to cancer in animal studies, with researchers shocked to find alarmingly high levels of acrylamide in potato chips, making them one of the worst culprits when it comes to processed snacks. But that's just the beginning. To maintain that unnaturally fresh and appealing look, companies add sodium bisulfite. Sounds benign, right? Well, it's also a common ingredient found in some toilet cleaners. While only a small amount is used in chips, here's where things get truly concerning. When sodium bisulfite mixes with vitamin B12, it can create a toxic reaction. And guess what? Some potato varieties are naturally rich in vitamin B12. That means your favorite snack could unwittingly contain a dangerous chemical combination you never even knew existed. Beyond these specific threats, of course, are the ubiquitous preservatives, artificial flavors, and colorings that manipulate each chip into its perfect, uniform look and taste. The endless variety of flavors may seem exciting, but those extra hidden ingredients contribute significantly to systemic inflammation, disruptive digestive issues, and a host of long-term health risks. The truth is, homemade potato chips are undeniably healthier. You control every ingredient, you skip the toxic chemicals, and you still get that satisfying, delicious crunch. So next time that craving hits, maybe try making your own. Your body and your long-term health will absolutely thank you. From the savory crunch, let's dive into the sweet deception. Candy. We all know candy isn't exactly a health food, but have you ever paused to truly consider just how devastating it really is? Sure, it's a fun treat, a moment of sugary delight, but beneath all that sweetness is a recipe for absolute disaster for your teeth and your overall health. Let's break down this sugary plot. First, your teeth. Candy and sugar are inextricably linked, and the bacteria in your mouth absolutely feast on sugar. The terrifying problem? When these bacteria gorge themselves, they produce corrosive acid that relentlessly attacks your enamel, the hard, protective outer layer of your teeth. This process, known as demineralization, systematically weakens your enamel, leaving your teeth incredibly vulnerable to cavities. And once that precious enamel is gone, there's no getting it back. But it doesn't stop there. That sticky film of bacteria called plaque, which forms on your teeth when you indulge in candy, builds up if not properly cleaned, leading to gingivitis, inflamed, often bleeding gums. If left untreated, this can escalate into full-blown gum disease, a terrifying condition that can eventually cause irreversible tooth loss. Sounds fun, right? But candy doesn't just wage war on your teeth, it can take a serious systemic toll on your entire body. That immediate sugar rush might feel great for a fleeting moment, but in the long run, consistently eating too much candy can lead to relentless weight gain, the onset of insidious type 2 diabetes, and even serious heart disease. And get this, cutting-edge research suggests that diets consistently high in sugar are directly linked to clinical depression and poor memory function. It's almost as if candy is sweet and innocent on the outside, but secretly plotting against your long-term health and mental well-being. The truth is, sugar is sneaky. It tastes good, it makes you crave more, creating an addictive cycle, and it's hiding everywhere. But knowing the risks can empower you to make smarter choices. Maybe next time you'll think twice before grabbing that second handful of candy. If solid sweets are a problem, then liquid sugar is a full-blown assault. Soda is one of those drinks that seems utterly harmless, even refreshing, until you truly realize what's actually inside. It's fizzy, it's sweet, it's convenient. But let's be brutally honest, it's basically liquid sugar delivered with alarming efficiency. And the more you drink, the worse, far worse, it gets for your body. A single can of soda can pack anywhere from 7 to a shocking 10 teaspoons of sugar. That's an instant sugar overload, and your body simply isn't built to handle that much all at once. The immediate result? Your blood sugar spikes dramatically, triggering a cascade of internal processes. Over time, this relentless spiking and crashing can lead to chronic weight gain, the development of type 2 diabetes, and even severe heart disease. In fact, studies have unequivocally shown that people who drink soda regularly are exponentially more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than those who don't. And here's something you probably haven't truly considered. Soda doesn't fill you up. You could chug hundreds of calories worth of soda and still feel hungry, leaving you to probably end up eating far more solid food than you actually need. Plus, the intense sweetness in these drinks can ironically make you crave even more sugar, creating a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle that's incredibly hard to break. Soda also has a nasty, destructive habit of annihilating your teeth. When the sugar in soda meets the ever-present bacteria in your mouth, it creates corrosive acid that relentlessly erodes your precious enamel. The more soda you drink, the more irreversible damage it inflicts, eventually leading to painful cavities and severe tooth decay. If you've ever witnessed what soda can do to a rusty penny left overnight, just imagine what it's doing to your teeth day after day. Can after can. So why keep drinking something that inflicts so much profound harm? With so many healthier alternatives readily available, is soda truly worth the devastating cost to your health? Brace yourself, because your favorite comfort food may be the next unhealthy culprit you've been unknowingly consuming. Burgers, an American classic. Whether it's a sizzling backyard barbecue, a late night fast food run, or a hearty sit-down meal at a diner, burgers are ubiquitous. They're juicy, deeply satisfying, and packed with flavor. But have you ever truly stopped to think about what's actually inside that burger and how it fundamentally affects your health? The average American eats about 5 burgers a month, and for some people, that number is even higher. Many innocently believe burgers are a good source of protein and essential nutrients, which makes sense. After all, they're made of beef, and beef is packed with protein. But just because something contains protein doesn't automatically mean it's healthy. Burgers, particularly those from fast food chains, come with a whole lot of hidden baggage, and unfortunately, it's not the kind you can simply ignore. One of the most significant concerns with burgers is the shocking amount of saturated fat they contain. Consuming too much saturated fat can dangerously raise your cholesterol levels, dramatically increasing your risk of heart disease, the leading cause of death globally. And let's not forget the insidious sodium. Fast food burgers, in particular, are absolutely loaded with salt, which contributes directly to high blood pressure and other devastating cardiovascular issues. Then there are the additives, the unspeakable extras. Many fast food burgers contain a disturbing array of artificial preservatives, artificial flavors, and even ammonia-treated beef, infamously known as pink slime. Not exactly the kind of unlisted ingredient you'd want on your plate or in your body. And let's talk about portion sizes. A homemade burger might not be too bad, but restaurant and fast food burgers are often outrageously oversized and piled high with layers of cheese, fatty bacon, and calorie-packed sauces. By the time you add a side of greasy fries and a sugary soda, you've transformed one meal into a calorie bomb so explosive it's nearly impossible to burn off. But burgers are just one piece of the processed meat puzzle. Their cousin, the hot dog, carries even more alarming risks. Hot dogs might be a beloved summer classic, a quintessential American tradition, but they come with serious health concerns that most people would rather simply not think about. While they're cheap, easy to cook, and perfect for barbecues, the grim truth behind what goes into a hot dog and what it does to your body isn't nearly as appetizing. For starters, hot dogs are classified as processed meat, which the World Health Organization has unequivocally labeled a Group 1 carcinogen, meaning there's strong evidence they cause cancer. Eating just one hot dog a day has been chillingly linked to an 18% higher risk of colorectal cancer. Even more alarming, studies suggest that children who eat hot dogs regularly have a much higher chance of developing brain tumors and leukemia. That's not exactly the fun, innocent summer snack most people imagine. Then there's the direct assault on your heart. Hot dogs are loaded with sodium and saturated fat, two major culprits behind high blood pressure and clogged arteries. Some studies have found that regularly eating processed meats can significantly increase the risk of heart failure and early death. And if that's not enough, research also shows a strong link between hot dogs and type 2 diabetes. The high levels of nitrates and nitrites in hot dogs can damage insulin-producing cells, making it harder for the body to regulate blood sugar. Beyond the long-term health risks, there's also the immediate issue of safety. Hot dogs are frequently recalled due to contamination with metal shards, plastic, or even listeria, a dangerous bacteria that can cause serious illness. People have even reported finding razor blades, hair clumps, and buttons inside their hot dogs. Definitely not the kind of surprise ingredient anyone wants in their food. And let's be honest, hot dogs are rarely eaten alone. They're usually paired with highly processed white buns, sugar-packed condiments, and greasy sides like chips and soda. That instantly turns an already unhealthy food into a full-blown nutritional disaster. While they might evoke a powerful sense of nostalgia, hot dogs are far from a harmless snack. Now, let's veer into the truly bizarre, uncovering contaminants you'd never guess exist in your everyday items, from your morning coffee to your chewing gum. Would you pay $80 for a single cup of coffee? What if I told you that coffee came from beans that were first eaten, partially digested, and then pooped out by a cat-like animal? Sounds bizarre, right? Welcome to the world of Kopi Luwak, also known as civet cat coffee, the most expensive and controversial coffee on the planet. At first, the idea of civet coffee seemed like a win-win. The Asian palm civet, a small nocturnal mammal, was often seen as a pest in Indonesia, raiding fruit farms. But when people discovered that its digestive enzymes could transform ordinary coffee beans into a smoother, less acidic brew, civets suddenly became incredibly valuable. Instead of being hunted, their droppings were collected from the wild, and their poop-processed coffee became a luxury item. But with demand skyrocketing, things took a dark, horrific turn. Instead of collecting beans from wild civets, unscrupulous farmers started capturing these animals and confining them in tiny, filthy cages. Researchers who investigated 16 coffee plantations in Bali found civets trapped in unspeakable conditions. Small cages soaked in their own urine and feces with no room to move. Some animals were painfully thin from being forced to eat only coffee cherries. Others were morbidly overweight because they had no space to exercise. Worst of all, many suffered constant pain from standing on wire mesh floors day and night. These naturally nocturnal animals were also exposed to loud tourists and traffic during the day, intensifying their suffering. Many had no clean water, no chance to interact with other civets, and no way to escape their misery. And here's the real kicker: there's almost no way to tell if the kopi luwak you're buying was made from wild or tragically caged civets. A BBC investigation in 2013 exposed how coffee from abused caged animals was routinely falsely labeled as wild and sold at premium prices in Europe. So that luxurious cup of coffee might have come at the staggering cost of immense animal cruelty. Moving from coffee to another common habit, chewing gum. Did you know that every time you chew gum, you might be munching on a secretion from sheep's wool? Sounds utterly weird, right? But it's true. Many chewing gums contain lanolin, a waxy substance secreted by sheep's sebaceous glands. It helps keep their wool waterproof, which is great for them, but perhaps not so great for us when it ends up in our gum. Since lanolin is part of the gum base, the ingredient that makes gum chewy, manufacturers don't have to list it separately. So, unless you're meticulously reading every single ingredient label, which, let's be honest, most of us don't, you'd never even know it's in there. But lanolin isn't the only thing that makes chewing gum questionable. If you're a fan of sugary gum, your teeth will pay the price. Sugar sticks to your teeth, feeding bacteria and leading to cavities, gum disease, and irreversible tooth decay. If you don't brush immediately after, the damage just keeps accumulating. And then there's your jaw. Chewing gum too often, especially on one side, can throw your jaw muscles out of balance. Over time, this could lead to chronic jaw pain, earaches, headaches, and even debilitating TMJ disorders. That's not all. Chewing gum makes you swallow more air, which can trigger bloating and discomfort, especially if you have irritable bowel syndrome. Artificial sweeteners like mannitol and sorbitol found in sugar-free gum can also cause diarrhea, adding insult to injury. And here's something even more shocking. If you have silver dental fillings, the constant chewing might be releasing mercury into your body. High mercury exposure is directly linked to neurological problems, memory loss, and other serious health issues. So should you quit gum altogether? Not necessarily. Just opt for sugar-free versions made with xylitol and be mindful of how often and which side you chew on. Now, for something that might just change how you think about your favorite dessert or coffee creamer, vanilla-based products. Vanilla is one of the most beloved flavors in the world, found in everything from cakes and cookies to ice cream and coffee. But not all vanilla flavoring comes from vanilla beans. Historically, some products have used a much stranger, and frankly, grosser ingredient, castoreum. This is a substance derived from beaver scent glands. Beavers possess special sacs near their tails, known as castor sacs, which produce a musky, oily secretion they use to mark their territory. Somehow, at some point, someone figured out that this rather pungent substance has a sweet vanilla-like scent. And since it's technically a natural product, it was used in food flavoring and even labeled as natural flavoring. That means incredibly you could have consumed beaver-derived vanilla without ever knowing it. Before you start panicking and tossing out all your vanilla ice cream, here's the good news. Castoreum is rarely used in food today. Harvesting it is expensive and labor-intensive, making it an impractical choice for most food manufacturers. Instead, most vanilla flavoring either comes from real vanilla beans or is synthesized in a lab to replicate the taste. If you see vanilla extract on a label, that means it's made from real vanilla beans, while vanilla flavoring could indicate synthetic alternatives. That being said, castoreum is still sometimes used in perfumes and specialty products. While it might sound bizarre, it's just one of many unexpected ingredients that have been historically used in the food industry. The next time you enjoy something vanilla flavored, you probably don't have to worry about beaver secretions, but the fact that it was once a possibility definitely makes for an interesting, if unsettling, story. Isn't it truly fascinating how much there is to uncover about everyday foods? But the journey isn't over. Now let's explore common processed staples from your spread to your condiment that harbor hidden dangers you might never suspect. For years, margarine was a ubiquitous staple in American households, touted as the healthier alternative to butter. But over time, it started facing bans and severe restrictions. Why? Because it turned out to be far more harmful than helpful. One of the biggest reasons margarine lost favor was its alarmingly high trans fat content. Trans fats are artificially created during hydrogenation, a process used to solidify vegetable oils. These man-made fats dangerously raise bad cholesterol while simultaneously lowering good cholesterol, a perfect storm leading to clogged arteries, heart disease, and even strokes. Recognizing this grave danger, the US FDA finally took decisive action, banning partially hydrogenated oils, the primary source of artificial trans fats, in 2018. With that, margarine was effectively pushed out of the American market. Its health halo shattered, but trans fats weren't the only issue. Margarine is highly processed, often containing a cocktail of questionable additives like emulsifiers, artificial colors, and preservatives. These ingredients extend shelf life and improve texture, but they can also disrupt delicate gut health, contribute to systemic inflammation, and potentially impact metabolism. In stark contrast, natural alternatives like butter or plant-based spreads tend to have simpler ingredient lists with far fewer synthetic additives. Another significant concern was margarine's nutritional value, or rather, its profound lack thereof. Unlike butter, which naturally contains vital vitamins like A, D, and K2, margarine's nutrients often come from artificial fortification, a poor substitute. The harsh refining process strips vegetable oils of their natural vitamins, making margarine a less wholesome choice. Beyond the health concerns, margarine production has significant environmental costs. The mass production of vegetable oils, like palm and soybean oil, contributes directly to deforestation, habitat destruction, and increased pesticide use. As sustainability became a bigger focus, many consumers and manufacturers wisely moved away from margarine. With mounting health risks and growing awareness, the US market had little room left for margarine. When the FDA's trans fat ban finally came into effect, it was the final decisive nail in its coffin. Next, the omnipresent tomato ketchup. From burgers and fries to samosas and pasta, tomato ketchup has long been a go-to condiment, its sweet and tangy taste making it a popular choice for many. But while it may enhance the flavor of your favorite snacks, it comes with a range of serious health concerns that ultimately led to its removal or significant reformulation in many American markets. As awareness grew, many store-bought ketchups are absolutely packed with artificial additives, high fructose corn syrup, excessive sugar, and preservatives. These ingredients do far more than just improve the taste. They contribute to serious long-term health risks. One major issue is acid reflux. Tomatoes naturally contain citric and malic acid, which can significantly aggravate gastric problems. Consuming too much ketchup rapidly increases stomach acid, leading to discomfort, painful heartburn, and potential chronic digestive issues. High sugar content is another critical reason ketchup is under intense scrutiny. Some brands contain as much sugar as soft drinks, which can lead to obesity, insulin resistance, and a dangerously increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Even small amounts consumed regularly can contribute to significant long-term health problems. Excessive sodium levels in ketchup are a hidden danger. Many brands use high amounts of salt as a preservative, which can dangerously elevate blood pressure and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. For individuals already dealing with hypertension, frequent ketchup consumption can make matters exponentially worse. Additionally, harmful preservatives used to extend shelf life may have negative effects on metabolism and gut health. Some chemicals found in ketchup have even been linked to allergic reactions, systemic inflammation, and potential long-term health risks. With these mounting concerns, it's no surprise that American markets have distanced themselves subtly from this once ubiquitous condiment. What more could shock you after these revelations? Warning, what you're about to learn isn't for the faint of heart, especially if you love cheese. Next time you grab a bag of shredded cheese, you might want to take a much closer look at the ingredients. While it's incredibly convenient, what you're sprinkling on your pasta or pizza isn't always pure cheese. Many pre-shredded cheese products contain cellulose, an anti-caking agent used to prevent the cheese from clumping together. But here's the unsettling catch. Cellulose is often derived from wood pulp. That's right, some of your cheese may have a bit of tree in it. Cellulose is considered safe to eat, and the FDA allows up to 4% of it in shredded cheese. It's not just in cheese either. It appears in a variety of processed foods to add texture or prevent moisture buildup. But while it may not be directly harmful, it undeniably detracts from the cheese's natural quality. When shredded cheese is packed with cellulose, it simply doesn't melt as smoothly as fresh cheese does. Instead of that rich, creamy melt, it can end up dry and rubbery. There have also been infamous cases where companies went wildly overboard. One of the most notorious incidents involved Castle Cheese Inc., which was caught selling 100% Parmesan that was anything but their product contained high amounts of cellulose mixed with cheaper cheeses like cheddar, leading to massive legal trouble. This scandal raised serious concerns about how much non-dairy filler might actually be in certain brands of shredded cheese, undermining consumer trust. If you want the best cheese experience, true flavor, texture, and melt quality, buying a block and shredding it yourself is the only way to go. It may take a little extra effort, but the purity and superior taste make it undeniably worth it. After all, when you're paying for cheese, you want actual cheese, not wood pulp disguised as an anti-clumping agent. Finally, we unveil two more common culprits, often overlooked, that contain startling hidden ingredients or pose unexpected risks. Canned mushrooms might seem like a convenient, harmless addition to your meals, but they come with some serious risks that most people simply don't consider. While generally safe, there are a few hidden dangers that could make you rethink. Grabbing that can off the shelf, one of the biggest concerns is food poisoning. Staphylococcus bacteria can grow on mushrooms before they're canned, and if the canning process doesn't eliminate them completely, they can release toxins that won't disappear even when you cook the mushrooms. That means you could end up with nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea just from eating what you thought was a harmless topping on your pizza. Then there's botulism, a rare but extremely serious risk. If Clostridium botulinum bacteria survive in the can, they can produce a deadly toxin that attacks the nervous system. This is especially risky with home-canned mushrooms, where improper sealing or heat processing can turn a simple side dish into a dangerous, potentially fatal meal. Even the can itself can be a problem. Defective seams or tiny cracks in the metal can allow bacteria to sneak in, leading to spoiled mushrooms that could make you severely ill. If the mushrooms weren't heated properly during canning, bacteria that should have been killed could still be lurking inside. And let's not forget the high sodium content. Canned mushrooms often sit in salty brine, which can be a significant problem for people watching their blood pressure. Then there's the issue of BPA, a chemical found in some can linings. BPA has been linked to hormonal imbalances and other health concerns, so you might be getting more than just mushrooms in every bite. Plus, the canning process itself can strip away some of the mushroom's natural nutrients, leaving you with fewer vitamins and minerals than you'd get from fresh ones. While grabbing a can of mushrooms is undeniably easy, the hidden risks, from possible bacterial contamination to excess sodium and potential exposure to harmful chemicals, might make you think twice. Perhaps fresh mushrooms are worth the extra effort after all. Finally, let's examine red dye 40. Ever noticed your child bouncing off the walls after eating a brightly colored cupcake? It's easy to blame the sugar, but artificial food dyes, especially red dye 40, might be playing a far bigger role than you think. Red dye 40 is one of the most common color additives in processed foods across America. It's made from petroleum. Yes, the same stuff used to make gasoline, and is currently approved by the US Food and Drug Administration for use in food and drinks. But not everyone is convinced it's harmless. A growing body of scientific evidence suggests a worrying link between artificial dyes and hyperactivity, particularly in children diagnosed with ADHD. In some documented cases, kids showed significant improvements in attention and behavior when these dyes were removed from their diets. While more extensive research is certainly needed, the concern is serious enough that several countries, including many in Europe, have definitively banned certain food dyes, including red dye 40. The US, however, still allows them, so is this sneaky petroleum-derived dye hiding? Pretty much everywhere. If a food comes in a package and boasts a bright, unnatural color, there's a very good chance it contains red dye 40. It often appears on labels under different names, such as Red 40, Red 40 Lake, FD&C Red Number 40, or FD&C Red Number 40 Aluminum Lake. Since ingredients are listed by weight, the higher up you see red dye 40 on a label, the more of it you're consuming. While the effects of food dyes vary from person to person, it absolutely doesn't hurt to be mindful of them, especially if you or your child experience hyperactivity or unexplained allergic reactions. So the ultimate question remains, do you really want to eat something deliberately colored with petroleum? This journey through America's food landscape has unveiled some truly alarming truths, from cancer-linked bread additives and wood pulp in your cheese to beaver secretions and vanilla flavoring and the disturbing hidden dangers of convenience foods. It's clear that the food system, as it stands, is often prioritizing profit and efficiency over your health. The stark contrast between US food regulations and those in other developed nations highlights a profound failure to protect American consumers. It's a powerful reminder that vigilance is crucial. Reading labels, understanding ingredients, and demanding better from both manufacturers and regulators are no longer options. They are essential acts of self-preservation. So after discovering these unsettling secrets, which of these foods would you give up forever, and which ones are simply too ingrained in your life to let go? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Your awareness is the first step towards a healthier future.